After this, Paul left Athens and went to Corinth. There he found a Jew named Aquila, a native of Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had ordered all Jews to leave Rome. Paul went to see them, and, because he was of the same trade, he stayed with them, and they worked together. By trade they were tent makers. Every Sabbath he would argue in the synagogue, and would try to convince Jews and Greeks. Now I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you should be in agreement, and that there should be no divisions among you, but that you should be united in the same mind and the same purpose. For it has been reported to me by Chloe's people that there are quarrels among you, my brothers and sisters. What I mean is that each of you says, I belong to Paul, or I belong to Apollos, or I belong to Cephas, or I belong to Christ. Has Christ been divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Or were you baptized in the name of Paul? I thank God that I baptized none of you except Crispus and Gaius, so that no one can say you were baptized in my name. I did baptize also the house of Stephanas. Beyond that, I do not know whether I baptized anyone else. For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to proclaim the gospel, and not with eloquent wisdom, so that the cross of Christ might not be emptied of its power. For the message about the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. Disagreements happen. Arguments break out. Divisions are inevitable. Are they, though? Is it inevitable that we should be separated from each other? I am missing being together, as I think we all are during this time of physical separation. Keeping in touch through the internet and over the phone is a great gift. Is it enough? Not really, no. But you are my friends, and I am yours. And I feel as though we are still together, even though we are physically separated. We are not divided from each other. That's how I feel. In the early days of Christianity, the people who decided to follow Jesus often felt divided. Some of them were Jewish by birth, and they'd been kicked out of their churches for blasphemy. Kicked out by their families and friends, by the way. Can you imagine? Not being able to go to church? Not being able to see your friends? They didn't have Facebook or Zoom. And also they'd been betrayed and hurt by people close to them. Some of them got mad about it and fought to stay in their churches, their synagogues. And the government, the big bad Roman government, cracked right down on that. No fighting. Get out of Rome. Get out of the cities. Get out of your life and your work and your everything. No more arguing in the squares. No more shouting and shooting off your mouth. No more conflict with friends and family about whether we should be following Jesus or what that even means. A whole bunch of Jews, which means both Jewish people and Jewish Christian people, had to hit the road, start over, find new work, figure out a new life. And they started out from a place of profound disagreement with each other. What was the way of God? Was it tradition and teachings and ancestors and the law handed down from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Or was it new life and freedom from all of that, and transcendence of the rules and spirit, God doing a new thing? And we know this from history. When a new and deep argument starts, it's hard to stop it. The arguers, after a while, seem like they're enjoying it, almost. It's fun, for some people anyway, seemingly, to get righteously angry, to feel like they're part of a movement, to take a stand. You're betraying our history, your family. You're denying the new thing God is doing. Everybody thought their side, their position, their argument was right. Righteously so. Two problems with argument and division. Once it starts and starts to spread, it quickly becomes normalized. This is just the way it is. It's just what we do, how we are. We argue. We're divided. And once it becomes normalized, it gets worse and worse until it becomes dehumanizing. This is my position. This is my party. These are my people. This is my life. This is what I'm essentially about. This movement, this stand, this camp I'm in is the good one. Well, really, it's the only one, if you think about it. The only true one. Well, really, I mean, couldn't we just say that all others are ultimately wrong? Blasphemous? Evil? Disagreements happen. Arguments break out. Divisions are inevitable. The history of the church is shot through with the destructive, death-dealing ends of conflicts and divisions. And another way to say that is that the history of organized religion is filled with destruction and death-dealing. And another way to say that is that the history of humanity is. There are some things that are worth arguing about, certainly. And there are some things that history clearly shows that people deeply believe are right, but then turn out to be utterly, objectively wrong. But when conflict and division becomes normalized and advances to the point where people are dehumanizing the other side, history teaches us that terrible things happen. People become separated, not just from each other, but from the essence of themselves, the essence of their own humanity. People separate from the best they can be because they discover that the worst they can be is a winning formula in some arenas. People start to kill off the parts of themselves that want to remind them that all of the religion, all of the teachings, all of the essential human community stuff is about loving the neighbor, about being mutually bound up with each other's fate, about wishing and praying and working for the success and well-being of each other because it's the only way that the human family is going to make it. When conflict and division go bone deep, the parts of us that want to follow Jesus start to die. People start to die. Literally, people die. Here, have some more Peaceful River video for a minute. The only solution, well, okay, that sounds grandiose. One potential solution is the reminder that Paul tried to tell the Corinthians from the beginning. What unites you is so much more than what divides you. You're concerned about who baptized you? What about who died to break this power of division and death, the one that you claim to follow, the one whose ways you claim to want to walk in? It's not about you and about what you think is the most important. It's about him and the work that he has for you, that he calls you to do. And Paul certainly wasn't perfect at this. Immediately afterwards, he decides to separate, divide people into they who are perishing and we who are being saved. Fail. That's the root of the destructive argument that leads to death. That othering of those who you can't yet see as brothers and sisters. Yet. You can't see them that way yet. Because you're too scared and too confused and your sight is dimmed. Paul. Everybody. Me. What divides you is fear, and the desire for it to be banished. What divides you is despair and the sinking feeling that everything is broken and that there won't be enough for you. What divides you is doubt, literal lack of faith in each other, lack of faith in humanity, lack of faith that all could be welcome, all could make it, all could be saved. What unites you is the one who made you and taught you and leads you. The one who told you and keeps on telling you, do not be afraid. Love the other people. Be at peace. There is that in the world and in human nature that has a great gift for spreading enmity and discord. There is a talent for it out there, undeniably. But Jesus calls us to the greater gifts, a more excellent way, the bond of friendship and trust that has sustained human community always and brought these teachings and this hope down through the ages, in spite of all conflicts and divisions, overcoming despair and even death through the power of the Spirit that unites us. We are all in this together. This life, this moment, these anxious challenges, and this way that we are called to live that has already overcome the world. We are separated for now, but what unites us is always, forever stronger. Don't be afraid. Resist the temptation to spread division and anger. You are called to give an account of hope, and it says it's hope that is already in you. If you haven't been feeling it lately, then stop and take a deep breath in of God's Spirit. Dive into the river of hope and let the voice that stilled the storms quiet your troubled heart. And let the peace of God reconnect you with the human family.